What's up, guys? Welcome to another more serious upload on the channel. I think we're just going to do these every Wednesday now, just as a heads up for those of you that are like looking forward to Wednesday Skywars content. It's not going to be Skywars. I don't like that that's concrete. I can't. Anyways, so today we're going to be talking about not anything as serious as last time. Last time was a bit it was a bit heavy because I was talking about, my mental state, and it's not the best. I mean, it's much better now, but it wasn't when I made the video. So this one should be a bit less heavy. Today we are talking about figuring yourself out. Like figuring out who you are, like how difficult that can be, because that's something I've struggled with in the past, and I want to raise awareness about like how difficult it can be. So when I say figuring yourself out, I don't mean like, figuring out what you like or, who you like, all that. I mean figuring out you, it's hard to explain, like you as a person, I guess. But, I mean, I guess that doesn't even really sum it up very well. I think one of the best things I can say about this would be like you and your sexuality would actually probably be a great example when I say figuring yourself out. Because you're trying to figure out, you know, what you enjoy, like what you like, which I know I just said isn't exactly what it is, but I mean it kind of is. It's different because when I say before what you like and enjoy, I don't mean like things that you do when you're bored, like things to do to have fun. I mean like who you are, like who you like, who you want to be with, all that. So for example, I am unlabeled, right? Which a lot of people don't know what that means, so I'll just explain it real quick. Basically, I don't really fit under any labels. So like, you know, I like guys and girls, right? But it's not in a way that it's bisexual or pansexual, right? Um, it's more like sometimes it's one, sometimes it's the other, which a lot of people are like, oh, that's just either bisexual or pansexual. I'm like, no, because bisexual implies a preference, pansexual implies no preference, and it's both, right? So that's just a common misunderstanding. I felt like I'd throw out there so that none of you are confused about it. Um, but anyways, more importantly, so with figuring that kind of stuff out, it can be really, really difficult because like you don't know exactly what you are feeling or why you are feeling it. You're just trying to figure out like what is happening. Because, usually the first couple of times you're like, oh, well, that's whatever. I don't think that means anything. And then it ends up meaning something really big and you just didn't know. Um, which, I mean, of course, everyone that has ever, like, figured out that they aren't straight or cis or whatever, they've gone through that where they're like, well, I'll just ignore it. It can't be anything too important, right? But it is. So, obviously you got to figure that out because one of the keys to life is to know yourself. It's like there was an old Sun Tzu quote, know yourself and know your enemy, and you don't have to fear the outcome of 1,000 battles, right? Which obviously I don't think anyone has like enemies or anything, but know yourself because then you don't have to fear what, is to come. Because you know who you are. At the very least, the one thing that you can hold true to yourself is who you are. So that's always been something very important to me, is to know who I am, which I won't lie, I've struggled with, because here's the thing about, like, figuring that kind of stuff out. It's so weird, because at first you're like, well, that can't be right. That can't be right. You're, like, in denial about it, almost. But at the same time, you're like, oh, but it is. It's gotta be. And, as you figure it out, you start to accept it a bit more. But beyond that, you also have to figure out, like, what certain things mean to you. So, like, you have to figure out what you mean to yourself and figure out how to live with yourself and love yourself, which I'm still working on. I won't lie to you. I'm still working on that, but you know, it gets better every day. Um, and it's difficult to kind of accept different things about yourself just because they aren't, you know, like the normal, the majority. You're in the minority of things, which I think is funny because, like, with Unlabeled, I'll talk to a lot of people in the LGBTQ community, and I'll tell them about it, and they'll be like, "Wait, that's a thing," which I always find hilarious. They're like, "That's an actual thing," and I always think it's so funny when people say that. But uh, yeah, I think when it comes to like figuring yourself out and knowing yourself, one of the best things that I have done to do that is spend as much time as I can trying different things that could be cool. So, like, obviously I've got Skywars, which I haven't actually played all that much recently. I've got my friends, which I enjoy hanging out with. They always make me feel better about myself. Not like because I feel like I'm better than them or anything, just because they make me feel good. And I feel like you have to figure out what you enjoy, because then you can like base other new experiences that you want to try off of that. So, for example, in the past, I say in the past, I still do really enjoy Beyblade. It's cool. It's entertaining to me. I'm like, oh, two high-speed spinning tops just battling it out, and sometimes they explode. That's freaking awesome. And so I enjoy playing it. Skywars, same story, kind of. I just enjoy the aspect of, you know, fighting and, you know, strategy and everything that gets incorporated into it, because I love strategizing. And I know all these different things that I enjoy and that I love, and so I know more about myself than a lot of people I think do. And it's not as simple as just knowing what you enjoy or like knowing your sexuality or your gender or whatever. It's about figuring out how to love yourself and how to really, you know, not just accept yourself, but to be like, I enjoy being myself, which is really difficult for a lot of people, including myself. It's not easy for me to say those kinds of things, but it gets better every day now that, you know, there's so many people I get to interact with. And that's another thing. I know it feels for a lot of people like isolation is the best way to figure that out. And it can be, but too much isolation is unhealthy. Too much isolation, you will completely backtrack. You will no longer, you know, be getting closer to loving yourself. You will be getting quickly closer to hating yourself. And it's good to spend time with people that, you know, give you positive reinforcement. Don't get me wrong. Negative reinforcement is good too. It absolutely is. Negative reinforcement can be one of the best things ever sometimes. But positive reinforcement, you need friends that'll, you know, tell you good things about you and, you know, remind you that there are all these different things they see in you that you might not see in yourself, because the more you hear it, the more you believe it. And it's obviously not that simple, but one of the key things is to have people you love and care about by your side. Because the more you spend time with them, the more they will make you care for yourself and love yourself and be able to live with yourself. Which is, of course, one of the coping methods I've been using to figure out how to do those things. Is I've been spending a lot more time with friends and family, and, you know, even if you don't want to be around people, just if you have a pet, go hang out with your pet for a while. Just don't be alone all the time. I hang out with my dog Bailey all the time because, you know, she is one of the, no, I take it back, the best dog I've ever had. And I just can't help but, you know, want to spend as much time as possible with her. So like I go down and I just hang out with her and I think, oh, this dog loves me. This dog cares about me. Why shouldn't I? And I feel like just having those random thoughts of, well, these people see this or this thing sees this, so why shouldn't I be able to see it? It it sounds so easy when I say it, but it's not. I know that. Believe me, I know that. But like, oh, it's worth it in the end. The more you do it, the more it works. Obviously, that's how almost anything works. Is the more it happens, the more it's gonna work. And I know, like, uh, I keep saying this, but I know it's not easy for a lot of people to do these things and to like say, oh, well, I'll just go hang out with, my friend, or I'll go hang out with my family. Family. And it doesn't have to be easy. The sad thing about it, I say sad. The thing about it is nothing worthwhile in life comes easy. It's just a truth. Nothing worthwhile in life will ever come easy, because that doesn't make it worthwhile. You have to like put in the work and put in all these different elements to it. You have to try to make it worth it. And eventually that is something that you learn how to do. That's something that I've learned how to do with the YouTube channel, for example. I am putting in all the work that I possibly am available to put in the work in. So, because I want to prepare for my future. I want to, make this my future because I love it. I didn't think I was going to love it as much as I do, but it's so much fun. It's so great. And so I absolutely think that nothing worthwhile comes easy. Everything that will ever make you truly happy in life, you have to put in work to. It's the same thing with like relationships. It requires work, but in the end, it's all worth it as long as, it's a healthy relationship. Don't stay in unhealthy relationships. But, if it's healthy, then it's worth it, right? And so that's a truth that I live by, is nothing worthwhile comes without fight. You have to fight for anything that you truly, truly want and need in your life. And, that's something that I stick to as much as I possibly can and remind myself as much as I possibly can is life, there is nothing in it that you can get for free that will ever truly make you happy. And, it's that's where figuring yourself out comes in, because you have to figure out what is worthwhile to you. What are those things that, you would be willing to truly put in the work to and not take just because the opportunity is there. It's a very difficult balance to find, but once you find it, it's so much easier to get through life and to, love yourself and to care for yourself. And that does not come easy for a lot of people. It really doesn't. There's a lot of people, that they want to, but it just doesn't work because you can't expect it to just work on everybody. That's just not how life itself works. Is you have to be able to figure out yourself. You can't expect other people to do it for you. You can't expect, free stuff to just fall into your lap at any time you need it. You need to have, a way of putting in that kind of work. Because once you get too used to, having everything just handed to you, it no longer becomes worth it, and you no longer figure out what truly makes you happy and what you love. And so those are I think, in my opinion at least, those are the keys to figuring yourself out. Those are the things that I've done in the past and that I will continue to do in the future, because I want to, care for myself and to be proud of myself, So, yeah, that's all I really have to talk about today. I know I probably repeated a lot of the same points multiple times. I was just kind of ranting, but, that's what these videos are about. So, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.